Boom! What's going on, guys? Energy News Beat, episode number 168 here on this gorgeous Friday, November 27th, 2020. As always, I am your humble correspondent, Michael Tanner, joined by the executive producer of the show, the purveyor of the show, and the director and publisher of the world's greatest website, oilandgas360.com. Stuart Turley, how's your Thanksgiving, man? Good to see you.
Oh, it's a beautiful day in the neighborhood, and we've had a funeral for a friend.
That kills me every time I hear that, guys. We have a pretty slow day, both on the international side and the equity side. But Stuart on the international desk has never been busier, so we're actually going to let him go last today, finish up the show. He's got a bunch of stories. French government's getting a little weird with oil and gas. OPEC meeting again. Iraq needs cash. Norway strikes are back. Holy look. And BP, really interesting story. I've got an Exxon story. Equities market's fairly flat. But first, guys, just subscribe to this YouTube channel, Oil and Gas 360 / Intercom, the best place for all of your energy finances and way to stay up to date on the world's greatest website, oilandgas360.com. Light day on the equity side, only a half day. Markets closed at 1 p.m. Eastern time, so we're actually closed as we record this right now. Quarter of a percentage point for the SPY. Nasdaq was up 0.8 of a percentage point, really off the back of this too. 5.1 billion of online sales on Thanksgiving Day. People must really hate their families who have been quarantined with it too long. That's an unbelievable number according to Adobe Analytics. Dow Jones, after reaching 30,000, up about 0.4 of a percentage point, 2,937. Part of the reason there was some bullishness is as we transition, and markets do not like a choppy presidential transition, and any hint of whether it's going to be a holdout from President Trump, some interesting stuff on Biden saying markets don't like that. Well, Trump came out this week, and he's always working, trying to pump the markets, even on Thanksgiving. Comes out and says even at the Electoral College votes for President Biden, he won't agree with it, but he will let him take over. So that peaceful transition that all these traders were hoping for, it was going to happen. It's just traders like to hear the news. Buy the rumor, sell the news, guys. Well, in our case, it's buy the rumor, sometimes buy the news when it comes to bullishness. When we look at the crude oil side, that was down about 0.3 of a percentage point, 45.50, fairly flat. I think a lot of this bullish vaccine news is beginning to wear off. I think there were people calling for $50 oil here very soon. We're a little too bullish. I think this 45 zone and 46 is, I think, a little overdone considering where we are with global oil stocks. But it is good to see the market, and not good, but we are experiencing a little bit of pullback. I think a lot of that vaccine news that was really been holding up the crude oil markets is beginning to unwind a little back into the curve, 45.72. So we're in backwardation, or we're in contango now. Excuse me. That curve is now inverted. Good to see there. When we're talking about a crude oil curve, backwardation it's interesting because they call it backwardation. That's actually normality when the futures price in the current is lower than the futures price for. Contango is the opposite, where the futures price is actually higher than the price in the future, which is different. It's called backwardation and contango. You learn something new every day, even on a Friday. Natural gas price is $2.85, down 1.5 percentage points. Really off the back of some cooler weather sliding in. We're going to, some warmer weather sliding in. Not good for natural gas prices. Nobody's going to be using that heat. Back into the curve, 1.3 percentage points to the downside, $2.88. XOP 57.88. That's a 1.5% on the downside. Back to what's considered normal in the markets here. Energy equities down, SPY and equities markets up. OIH was down 2 percentage points, 147.73. And we look at our biggest stocks on the downside. Consol Energy was down 5 percentage points today. Sundance Energy was down big. Sanchez Energy, Midstream Partners down big. On the upside, Denbury was up big today, 7 percentage points. Peabody up big. California Resources Corporation, CRC, up 9 percentage points. High Point Resources, off the back of getting acquired by Bonanza Creek once they emerged from Chapter 11 bankruptcy, is up 10 percentage points. Before we dive into my North American shale news, guys, I need to tell you about our show, which is powered by Data Gumbo. They're an award-winning technology company with customers all around the world who build, manage, and automate their own smart contracts. Data Gumbo smart contracts offer up a new approach to commercial relations, one that reduces friction to deliver streamlined operations, transactional certainty, and cost savings. Every transaction is accurate, certain, touchless, and automated, and powered via the Gumbo Net. Go get yourself a big bowl of Data Gumbo, www.datagumbo.com. I'm starting this one off today, Stu, because I've only really got one story. Here's all I've got. Exxon is one of the few majors that don't release their commodity futures price, how they think prices are going to look in the future. A lot of investors really like to see that because it's why some companies either invest long-term in CapEx if they think prices are going to go up substantially, or it's why they don't if they don't think prices are going to go up substantially. ExxonMobil is one of the companies that don't release it. They've lowered the crude outlook prices for much of the next decade, according to an internal document reviewed by the Wall Street Journal. And I'll just give you the rundown here, Stu. Brent currently trading about $47, the company used to have in 2019, their benchmark for Brent crude world oil prices averaged around $62 for the next 5 years before increasing to $72 in 2026 and 2027, according to the document. This summer, the company lowered that forecast to between 50 and 55 a barrel for the next 5 years before eventually topping out at $60 a barrel over 2026 and 2027, according to the documents, which were dated in September. And even the new price deck that they're using at an early stage of modeling, the board is set to vote on this next month. Whew. So that's interesting because, obviously Exxon is taking into a lot of different stuff. They're taking the Brent price, but they also obviously have a huge Permian operations, which is taking that WTI price. This is a little interesting to me. These guys are tapped in politically with what they think is going to happen with, coming in. And I think for all the bullish news that I've been preaching that, that I think a Democratic presidency and a split Congress where basically nothing will get done might actually be good for oil prices. I don't want to say this slaps in the face of it, but they're taking into account stuff like this. They're taking into account the regulations that are coming out, how they see all that stuff. And when they're lowering their forecast, that doesn't make me not that this throws me off. I don't think Exxon necessarily has this, if you're trying to guess crude oil prices, you're just guessing at this point. But this does mean they're not as bullish on the new administration as I think a lot of other people are when you see some of these price forecasts in the $60, $70 range. So that's really, I think, the nugget to bring from this is I think politically on the U.S. side, they are a little, we're not sure if this new administration is actually going to be as friendly to prices, maybe not the industry, but we're talking prices as other people think. And with that, Stu, I'm going to let you start. You got a lot of stuff here in the international news. I'm just going to buckle up, sit back. You educate us today. Let me get some coffee. Cheers.
Oh, yeah. Well, what the hell is a backwardation flip? Is that like a backward 1.5 spin off of the?
I knew you were going to make fun of me. But backwardation is the legitimate word for it.
Okay.
It's contango and backwardation. Backwardation, how I remember it is, backwardation is when the futures price in the front month is less than the futures price down the curve. And when you have an upsloping curve, it's called backwardation, and that's actually normal. So that's how I remember it. Normal is actually backwardation in the oil markets. Contango is when that flips, and now all of a sudden the futures price in the front month is bigger than the front month than the back end curve, and we think prices then are going to go down. It's much more of a bearish sentiment. So that's just kind of what we were seeing there slightly for the oil markets. It sent flip, but now we're in that zone where it's so flat, we're continually flipping between contango backwardation. It's just volatile and it really flips the way. So can't make fun of me for that one.
I can.
You still can, I guess. But I knew you were. I saw you laughing. I was like, oh boy, this is the right term.
Okay, Iraq. Let's just start off with our boys in Iraq. We got to love them. Iraq is feeling the strain under the OPEC Plus deal. A reason that OPEC Plus cannot control its members is because they need cash. Okay, here is a quote. We have reached the limit of our ability and willingness to accept a policy for one size fits all, says the Iraq's finance minister. Holy smokes. There's a couple
crazy over there.
Oh, they have no money. Under the current OPEC Plus, they are supposed to reduce it 4.65 million barrels per day. They're to do 102 million barrels per day. Here's another number over here that they're going to do. They are going to wipe all that out. Okay, I'm going to go to the next one. There is no way.
Is OPEC's meeting next? That's the next story I hope you bring up, because I think this ties in together. OPEC, yes. How are they going to be able to have productive talks if everybody in that room knows Iraq needs cash stat and we need increased production, and all of the stories you've ran on Libya? How are you able to have honest discussions in that room?
You can't. You absolutely cannot. And I'm going to submit to you that in this article that we're about to talk about, and that is How in the world can OPEC and OPEC Plus even pretend to try to say that we want to control production to control prices? There is no way. The OPEC Plus to meet to talks for continuing oil talks. That's the next article. OPEC Plus scheduled to meet online on November 30th through the December 1st. Here's the nugget out of this. As of recently, November 16th, an advisory panel of delegates committedly delaying the supply increase for up to 6 months. And everyone else is throwing a hissy fit. It's likely that the path of least resistance is going to be, we have no idea. Unbelievable. That I cannot. The OPEC Plus, I feel sorry for OPEC and OPEC Plus in trying to maintain this balance when people need cash. It ain't going to happen.
Yeah, I just think you can't take anybody seriously sitting in that room. What else you got for the day?
Okay, we're going on to BP.
This one's
BP. Okay, here's BP. We're going green. We're getting rid of fossil fuels. We're running this way. Today, we will continue to invest in Oman, and they have made a major significant implication here in Iraq. They're helping them out in fossil fuel. So it's a double standard in this article that's pretty funny. BP's going this way, but their efforts are going this way, and they're helping Iraq.
Like old school magicians, watch this hand while the real magic trick's going on over here. Trust me, guys, we're going green. The real way to profitability is still investing in oil over here.
Right. And we're the bad guys. All right. Norwegian Strike. This one is pretty interesting. Look at our graphic.
Again?
Here we are. There's a helicopter. Bunch of guys jumping off a helicopter. The Norwegian helicopter crews, they're looking at, there's 6 heliports that are used to transport Norway's offshore platforms. They could be cut down, and it is 50 million barrels of oil could have an impact on that.
Over what time frame?
Tomorrow.
50 million barrels tomorrow could be shut down.
Yeah, but they don't know how long for.
Oh,
so
okay.
Yeah, so yeah.
We love our friends up in Norway. They got to figure these strikes out, though. Holy smokes!
Oh, it is. And the quote is: the process of supply could from the Ormen Lange fields is expected to have a volume impact of 50 million tomorrow. An offshore operator Gasco said this morning. So, buckle up. So the next one is Exxon and Total are in talks over Mozambique LNG deal. You shove this one at me, and it seems like there's a couple good things in there. But
I mean, I think the biggest is Africa is going to become what I think is poised to become the natural gas hub of the world. There is so much natural gas undiscovered, trillions of cubic feet in that East Africa, especially where Mozambique is. It's unbelievable.
I'm gonna submit to you on this. Why are they pushing for solar panels and everything else that's more costly when they have that much gas? So just a thought. All right, back to you.
Yeah, is that everything you got here on the international side?
Everything that I'm ready to talk about. I'm ready to go have some more turkey and take a nap.
Exactly, guys. And without further ado, we're going to let you get out of here. Thank you for checking us out here on this gorgeous Friday, November 27th, 2020. Hopefully you're not working today. Go ahead and finish up your day if you are. For Stuart Turley, I'm Michael Tanner. We will see you guys Monday here on the Energy News Beat.